Hello everyone. I know it's really strange. I'm making a video. Finally decided to just take the time and do it because a friend of mine, Susan, thank you, showed me something she had gotten at an estate sale, and I thought that is such a cool idea. So I wanted to share this idea. I haven't even made one. So here's the deal. If it works, you'll get to see it. If it doesn't, you'll never know, because I just won't finish the video or share the video. So what she found was a little book, and when she opened it up, it was a needle book. They had taken all the pages out and put in felt sheets and made a needle book. I thought that was the most adorable idea, because how many times do we find these little books and we love the little quotes and we may use them in a zillion different places, but then we just have the little book to make a little book. But this is so cool. So this is the book I found, What Every Woman Should Do Once, which I love that title and I love the picture. So we take the dust jacket off, and I really like this cover. I don't know what it is about it, but I like it. So I'm probably not going to embellish it, but I say that lightly because, you just never say never. So what I'm going to do is first is get and I'm just using a cheap craft knife because this way I've always got a sharp blade because I can just snap one off. And I'm just going to carefully gut this book because I want the spine intact. And we'll get the other side. I was hoping this would stay in, but it doesn't. It's going to go with the book. So that's okay. I could put it in there if I want it. I can take it out of the book section. Oh, did I? Oh, yeah. I thought maybe I cut it, but I didn't. I could have done this one separately. Y'all know how to gut a book. So I'm just going to take my scissors and trim that out. And I love the inside covers, purses and perfume and shoes. And then, of course, we have all these quotes, and I don't have to rewrite them. I can just cut them up, and so use them in something. Something every woman should do once, skinny dip. Insist on being called Her Majesty, Your Majesty. Be a diva for a night at a karaoke bar. Dye your hair blonde and see if they really do have more fun. So there's some great quotes and little pictures and stuff. Great for ATCs right here. So I have this. I already cut one page, but I did it just kind of measuring with the book in it. So we'll see if it's going to be right. And I think that's going to be good. It could be a little bit longer, but we'll be okay with this. So now I have one page, and all I have to do is I could measure it and then do that, cut it exactly, but I'm probably just going to lay it down here, take my fabric shears, and I don't know how many pages it's going to hold. We'll find that out real soon. Of course, this is too small. And let's see if we can do one more at least. Let's lay that on there, matching my edges. And I'm going to fold it with this one, which was the first one, in the center, because it could be just a little bit shorter. So we'll put it there and see how that fits. And that's an awful lot of pages. I'm not sure I want to go quite that big by the time you put the needles in there. So we'll just do 2 pages, which is, yeah, I think that's good because I want it to still look like a book. And so now you can do all kinds of things with it. You can put these in there You can staple them in. You could sew them in. I'm going to sew them. And hopefully they work. But I think I want to cover this up. So let me grab something and see if I can find a paper that looks good with this. Okay, so I had some twill tape out earlier because I was stamping on it to see what I could do. And I decided that's what I'm going to cover this with. It's not going to cover it completely, but it's going to look okay. So I am going to get my bottle of glue. Going to use tacky glue. And I'm going to fold this over because I kind of want a loop at the top. So I'm going to put some glue on that. Maybe used a little extra glue there. And I'm going to put it in here. I need to trim that down, so I'm going to go ahead and lift it up so that I can get a straighter cut than I did before. I think I cut it with craft scissors before. And kind of tuck it into that seam. And now I have this little loop that I can hang something off of if I want to, or hang it off of something. But I definitely need to let this dry. And while that's drying, let's take these sheets and double check and see if I really want 3 or if I will be okay with 2. You know, I'm just not sure. It would probably work, but like I said earlier, I've got the needles that's going to go in there, and believe me, I've got little bitty needle books everywhere. I intend to carry this and use this. So we're going to stay with 2. And we're going to get this lined up. And we're going to use this pin right here to hold this all together so that I know where to sew it in and make sure it's where I want it. So we're going to let this dry, and I'll be back to sew this together and finish it out. Okay, it's dry enough, and as I said, I'm making this on the go. No idea, don't even have the prototype here. So I decided I'd put eyelets in here. They're not quite exactly straight with each other, but that's okay. I'm going to set those eyelets with this little tool that I really am not very fond of. And I was going to do it off screen, but I thought, well, I already poked the holes off screen, so let's see. I'm just not very good at getting the eyelet to do this. I do better with my little hammer, which is still needs a little bit of hammering, and I never know which setting to use on this little machine. But it does poke holes a long distance away, so I do like that. But I can't really see what I'm doing. So we'll get them in there so they stay somewhat. And hopefully they will work. Now that one worked. Nope, still didn't work. That's why I'm not a big fan of that machine. I like my regular old fashioned little punch that I used for years and years in jewelry making. But I can't punch it on my mat because it's glass. So I kind of have to come off screen a little bit. Put it in here and I can catch that up, smooth it out a little bit better off screen after we're done. So I dug out some thread. Yep, I sure did. Where did it go? That's crazy. This is how my life has been lately. This is why I haven't made too many videos, because I never know if I'm coming or going. And right now, I think I'm just standing still. So we will have to grab the bag and get out some thread. And I didn't grab it because this is the one I was going to grab. So I'm just going to pull off some. I'd rather have it way too long. And as I was messing with this, I'm still not sold on 2 or 3 pages in there, because I really want 3, but I'm afraid it's going to be too long. So I took the pin out that I had kept them all together, because I did take them and folded them each individually and set them in here. And they seem to have compact down a little bit more. And then I got to thinking, well, you know, I can always tie a ribbon around it, right? So what I'm going to try, we're going to all work on this together and see if this even works. I'm grabbing a needle. It's not a real sharp one, so let's hope it'll go through the felt. We're going to start, excuse me, with one. And I'm going to come through. No, we'll do. We're going to go through here. And I didn't poke holes in the felt because they would have just closed right back up. Yeah, this needle's not sharp enough. Yeah, maybe it will be. Okay. We're going to keep after this, folks. Yes, we are. It's sharp enough if you don't go through a fold like that, evidently. That spot is not going to work. So let's try this one. It's a smaller needle, but it's got a point. If you wonder why I reach across to get my needles, I have a magnet stuck on my metal drawer there, and that's where I put my bookbinding needles so that they're always handy. Little tip, if you're using a wax thread, if you lay it down and flatten it out with your fingernail, it usually goes better in your needle. I say that, and this time it worked. Yay! So let's try this one more time. Now the needle's sharp and it wants to go through everywhere. Luckily there was already a dent in the fabric. I'll get these two lined back up better. I guess it doesn't matter. We can always trim it if it doesn't work. I'm going to go through there and pull that through. I'm going to leave a pretty good tail in there so I can tie a knot. Yeah. I think maybe stapling this would have been much easier, but we're going to try it this way. Mostly because I'm having trouble staying in the center of this. This is really flexible. I'm going to go through there. Got the needle in, so I'm going to lift up this layer so that I don't go through all the layers. and pull that snug. And I think we're good. I think we're good. So tie this. And I just did the 2 holes. And I'm telling you that I'm not sure that's even going to work. So we're going to just try and tie it up here. Actually, let's just cut it off. We can tie the knot later, because we're going to use the same holes for the next sheet. I'm going to line them up. Go through there. Just like a book, when you do a book. The first signature is always the hardest. Let's see if that's lined up. Yep. So I'm just going to cut that one off. And I'm going to go ahead and go for a third, and then we'll make the decision at the end. Because I'm not tying them off, so it's be real easy to take it out. So I have the 3 pages folded in, sewn in. It's not pulled in tight. I still think I'm going to stay with 3. And we will just tie them now. You don't want to tie them till they gather up too much, but you want them to be snug and stay tied, and not to move around too much. I'm going to give another knot. Even though this is waxed, I just feel a little bit better about that. Cut that off. Go to the next one. Had I been doing this with paper, I would have never left these to untied. They would have just slipped around, but the felt's kind of grabbing on its own and holding up for me. Cut that one off. My fingers are dirty. Sorry, folks. I was inking with permanent ink. So, sorry I was off screen. So we've got them all sewed in. We've got them all tied. Close the little book, and there's our little needle book. My bias tape here is holding up. Not bias tape, twill tape. So I can hang something off that. I mean, if you got little scissors, maybe you could. You could have put beads on here. You could have free-freed this up. You could redo the cover. I had a thought after I started playing with this a little bit, right before the video. What if you put some fabric on here, but put a lot of padding under it, and then you could kind of have a little pin cushion, because many times when we're sewing we have a few pins, but we don't need the full pin cushion all the time. So I think this is really fun. I think this is going to be a fun little needle book. You can easily stitch around these, embroidery on them, make them fancy, dress them up however you want. That's my old needle book. And I say old because there's not very many in here. I have another one similar to this. My poor little beading noodles, they're all kind of bent out of shape, but they're bent for how I use them. Except this one I think is broke because it's not going in there. No, it's not broke. There we go. I'll tell you, there must be some stronger points of the felt than other points, because some places it goes in great and some places it doesn't. So those are some beading needles. There's another beading needle, a real fine beading needle. I hardly use those anymore. And put another needle, however you want to do it, whatever direction you want to do. I have some bigger needles. I have some curved needles. I keep them because someday I might need them, but I've never used them, so I'm not really sure why I keep them. So there you go. If you have one of these little books that you're using for one craft or another, why not take it apart and make your own little needle book? So everybody, thanks for watching. I hope that you weren't like, oh my God, she's making a mess here. But anyway, I had fun, and that's all that matters. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.